Multiple suicides by students at BITS Pilani, Goa campus, the death by suicide of a 17-year-old NEET aspirant due to examination stress, or the death of a 23-year-old student at MAPSA due to cyberbullying are just a few cases that caught media attention. Goa's overall suicide rate has historically hovered around 15.8 to 19.9 per lakh population, nearly double the national average. For young individuals in the 15 to 29 age bracket, suicide is documented as a leading cause of death in the state. Academic excellence is highly celebrated in our society, yet we rarely look at the human cost behind the high grades. Across India and right here in Goa, student stress, anxiety, and depression are reaching a tipping point. Competition is fierce, parental expectations are heavy, and the fear of failure is overwhelming. So, today we go beyond the statistics. We ask a critical question. When a student breaks down, where is the institutional safety net? Who is responsible for the mental well being of our young minds? So, joining us today to unpack this are our guest panelists. Dr. Suvarna Fonseca E. Antao is a well known mental health practitioner, homeopathic physician, environmentalist, and an award winning educator. We have a student with us, Ifza Sayed. She is a final year bachelor student pursuing BSc Behavioral Health Science at the Symbiosis Institute of Health Sciences. Sania Cardozo is a counseling psychologist and a support group facilitator. She is currently working towards creating a support based space for young adults in Goa. So, as we start this conversation, I would like to first go to Ifza. Ifza, as a student, what is your experience, especially considering the fact that you study in a different state, away from home and your comfort zone? Coping up must be stressful.
So I'm studying in Pune currently, and I've spent 16 years of my life in Goa at home, at comfort. Uh, Speaking right now, I'm going to be starting my fourth year, which is my final year. Right now, I'm very settled, very comfortable there. But looking back, I think I was very anxious at the start to go to another state, staying away from my parents, from my home, from comfort, and doing everything by myself. But to be very honest, I was also very excited to experience life for the very first time, to be very independent and do things on my own. As I went there, I remember when my parents left me. That time, the first night was very anxious. I was figuring out if I'm gonna be able to do it or if I'm just gonna call home crying that I wanna come back. But eventually, it happened. You get anxious in the start because you have expectations from home. Your parents have sent you to another state to pursue your dream and whatever you want to do. Um, Initially, all you need is their support, and more importantly, I think your own support. You need to be confident in yourself. Your parents and your family, your main support system, needs to show that support in you. And yeah, uh, now if I talk about academic pressure, there is a lot of academic pressure. There's a lot of competition. Students don't just compete with people in their class, but they compete with people all over the internet. Like they say, we are Gen Z now, so we have everything on social media. We don't just compete academically, honestly, we compete as personalities, because right now I think everyone wants to be something more than just their profession. They've realized that there is more to life. They want to explore more parts of themselves. So it does get kind of stressful to manage your personal life, your personal likes, your what you like to do, the way you want to enjoy life, and maintaining academics at the same time. And especially when you're in a different state, building an entire life for yourself, an entire personality, make new friends, be in touch with the old friends, then do adulting at the same time. It does get overwhelming, and then living alone, managing things on your own, it does get overwhelming at times.
So, Sanya, beyond administrative policy, how can peer support networks among students be cultivated to act as the first line of defense?
A peer support group is basically a group of students where few of the students will be trained in psychological first aid, and they usually navigate their issues and share their problems with each other rather than having a trained professional over there. And this kind of systems is good for students because there is a little more comfort level where they are more open to speaking about their issues, and they will feel like, okay, because this person is of my age, maybe they'll understand it better than someone who is older than me, and which can lead them to share their experiences a little more. And in Goa, what we could do is, in every institution they could implement these kind of peer support networks and mentorship programs which can benefit students to open up and share about their problems instead of just bottling it all up within them, and then leading to more stress and causing more panic within themselves and within their families also.
Dr. Suvarna, we
Yeah.
heard this discussion from two young women here. I want to know from you as an educator and as well as a mental health professional, what are the signs of stress that a teacher, parent, or friend needs to recognize?
What you have asked me is what are the signs of
Yeah.
stress. So it is quite obvious when a person is under stress, because I will just point out and mention to you some of the stresses that are said. There will be problems of eating and sleeping in the child. Okay. Secondly, you will have usually if they are on drugs or alcohol, you will find them taking more of alcohol and drugs. Sometimes the parents don't know, teachers also don't know that this is happening. Alcohol so much they may not have, but drugs, it does not cause any smell or anything, and you do not know, and therefore hidingly they take this. You will find that the child will know how exactly to hide while taking the drugs, because I have had patients who are here, who was with me, who have been on drugs right from 8th standard, was taking alcohol because parents used to bring alcohol and keep it in the cupboards, and he used to add water and keep. Father used to be abroad. So these are examples which I know for sure this has happened among students, and you did not even know that the child was taking alcohol. Then it went into, from alcohol it went into drugs when he went to college, to such an extent that he became a supplier, and then finally there were some other issues, and it was difficult for him to continue. Many things happened. Then with a lot of counseling and bringing him back, he has come back. He was counseled by others also, then he was counseled by me also, which he is now better. Now see, so this is the second sign that they might go into drugs, etc. So because they feel that euphoria when they take, or they feel that depression and they want to remain in that depression because they don't want to think of what is happening at the moment. Next is you will find they feel bored with everything and they get tired with everything. So those are signs of stress. These are common signs of stress, in the sense not only in students, it can happen in the others also. Then decision making. They are unable to make proper decisions, or they will always fall on somebody else to make the decisions. They do not take the lead and make the decisions. And procrastination, that is, I'm good for nothing, I cannot go, see that person can do better, comparing with the others, not understanding that you are unique and that you have to accept yourself. See, these two things, if you understand right in the beginning, and if they are ingrained in a student or a child, then it becomes easy for them to accept, okay, that person can do better than me, I cannot, I'll try my best. If I cannot, then it isn't that, I should be saying, no, it's not possible with me, what sort of a person am I, and say such things and demean your own self. Then you become anxious and confused over unimportant events. Unnecessarily, even for small thing, even like to choose a dress to wear in the morning. That's the reason why high secondary, etc. have come with uniforms. Because that anxiousness of a student as to what should I wear, and when I go to college, the other one is wearing something better than me. I don't have a branded t-shirt, I don't have a branded dress. That gives that kind of a feeling of inferiority for a student. To wipe out all that, students and the institutions have come with uniforms. Then you cannot pay attention, nor are they concentrating on anything. You're sitting in class, your mind is somewhere else. You don't understand what is being taught, then you see today's portion will be overlaid by tomorrow's portion, and then it will go on, and if you're not concentrating, then when you go home you will not be able to understand. So these are things that can happen in a student. Anxiousness and confusion, not being able to concentrate on what they're doing, are signs of a person who is under stress. Then weakness, dizziness, shortness of breath, that happens. Like, you are young, you should be filled with energy, you should be able to do like walk, run, etc. Now you tell them some work, they are not able to do. They need to be reached from here to there. Earlier we used to be walking all the distance, etc. Now you will not find children walking. So they are getting very tired, they are getting fatigued, they are also pampered by the parents, and parents are protective, and therefore it comes as pampering. And there are so much of things that have changed over the years, which makes it more stressful for the students. Then persistent hostility or angry feeling, anything, every little thing you'll find a person getting angry and reacting in an angry tone. It's that, that niceness of talking and understanding the situation of another person is not there in a stressful person. Then overpowering urge to cry for small little things. You say one small thing and you'll find that person crying. So this also shows that the person is under a lot of stress. Then suppose you are a person who had a system, very good system, where you would exercise in the morning, etc. Then you are giving up on all those things because you are so stressed, you can't apply your mind on these kind of things, and therefore you change your habit, you become more lazy, etc. Then you have physical expressions, that you have headaches, which are very often, you have backaches, you have muscle aches, you have stomach upsets. All these are actually, it is not because you've eaten something wrong or you're sitting somewhere wrong. It could be that, but there are mental reasons why you have these kind of ailments, where the mental stress is expressing in your body physically, telling you that there is something wrong, get yourself rectified so that you become a happy, healthy person. Then you have frequent colds and infections. We say colds, etc., because of allergy or because you got it from somebody else, etc. It affects your immune system, it affects your nervous system, it affects your hormonal balance with the stress, and therefore you become prone to even some simple things like colds, etc. Then you will find a person who is riding or driving is not concentrating on what is happening, and then there will be minor accidents, etc. So these are all mainly mainly the signs and signs of stress in everybody, not only in students, etc.
There is stress. You accept that there is stress. So when a student struggles, the common advice is to seek therapy. Are we unfairly placing the entire burden of coping on the student instead of fixing the system?
I have been a teacher for 37 years, more than 37 years. And I feel a student is with us for nearly 8 hours, and you have all kinds of stresses that the student goes through. I feel teacher is a person who is there, who will be multitasking. It's not your teacher, you're not only a teacher. You have to be a mother, you have to be a friend, you have to be a mentor, you have to be a peer, even though you may be older than them. You have to be everything. And when a student sees that in you, they will come and approach you for it. The teacher has to be trained. See, I have done lots of counseling courses, and that's the reason why I'm in this position to do. I took the opportunity. Counseling course was not given only to me, it was given to all the teachers. But I took the opportunity. I went during my holidays, I used to go and get myself that particular course, because I knew I was dealing with students who were coming with a lot of problems. You couldn't see it outside, but if you looked deep, if you took interest in a student, you can see what the problem the student has. And when you interact with that student in that manner, and student finds that here is a person whom I can approach and talk to, they will come to you and they will talk. I used to give them timetables, like, make their entire, call each student and make a timetable. Even when I got the national award, and when our Prime Minister Modi asked, when I said it, he was so happy that this timetable was being done, and he asked me whether you review it again after about maybe 2 months. I said yes, I review it and see if they have done, and he was very happy that such things are being done in the institution. And what they have said about the peer groups, this is something nice that they do. It is true that all the students are undergoing stress, some stress or the other, maybe home stress, or stress in their love life, or stress in the competitions that they are having, or the comparisons that they are having, or the financial stress that they are having. All are under some stress or the other. But sometimes you want just someone to listen to you. So this stress is also increased because you are not doing your work properly. Sometimes you are burdened with too much of work, and teachers' expectations are also so much, parents' expectation, institutions' expectation, society expectations. Finally, you are left with nothing else. So that is when the stress comes up. For that time, you need to have somebody who is there with you, who will help you, either your peer or your parent who has to be very supportive, or your teacher who has to be supportive, and the institution. If everybody leaves their hand, then they will say, I don't have anybody, and then that is when such drastic steps are taken.
So, Ifza, is the academic curriculum itself too demanding, or is the pressure coming from external factors like parental expectations and job
I think the pressure comes from the things that are linked to academics and that are linked to grades. Like, for example, your comparisons, your expectations from your own self expectations, expectations from your family, your friends, and everything. And the fear of failure, the fear of disappointing the people that you love, and hearing things, even your teachers for that matter. I'll share my personal experience with that. Before entering my current university for bachelor's, I was preparing for NEET. So I spent 2 years in a dummy school in the coaching environment, and I can say those were the most stressful years of my academic and my personal life. And they, like, I could just feel the difference and the change in me in a negative way. um, so it always felt like a rat race instead of an environment that I can actually learn from, or a safe space. I remember this one incident where so I was not able to solve a chemistry question, and so the sir, he made me stand up in the class and solve the question on the board, and I was not able to. And there were 60 students in the class, and in front of everyone, he- and I said कि अभी नहीं समझ में आ रहा है मुझे. And then he was like, पेरेंट्स के पैसे बर्बाद करने आते हो, बस कुछ नहीं आता तुम लोगों को, बस यही करने आते हो, and all of that. And for some students it might just be like a casual remark, but for some it stays with you for years, and the teacher also might just forget it in the next 5 seconds, because they probably say that to every student. But it puts such an impact uh, on your confidence, on your the perception of yourself that you have. Or if you've been a good student your entire school life, and suddenly you go through this transition, and then you just be like, oh my god, did I actually lose my spark in this, or did I actually lose my ability? And I was the COVID batch student, so we had that break as well. We were a little bit detached from studies, I would say, and coming back again to that environment, it was very stressful. um, but now there are some students that also do exceptionally well in these environments, and that's great, they are able to cope with all of that. But coaching institutions especially, in the beginning only, they identify students that are good and that excel, and they focus only on them. And then they also point out, they be like, iske jaise karo, ye kyun nahi karte. And so we used to have lectures of 1.5 hours, and we used to have only 15 minutes break, and 5 lectures a day, 4 or 5 lectures a day, I don't remember now. And in that break also, they expected us to revise what we've studied in the 1.5 hours. And if we went out to even get some air, they used to come to class, or they used to just pass comments कि हाँ यही करते रहो तुम, break ही लेना होता है, you don't want to revise, that is why you will never succeed, you will never do anything. So they just put that perception in your head also, that if you're not at the top, then you're falling behind. If you're not being up to the mark in the moment, you're just never gonna make it. So yeah, so it was very stressful for me at that point.
Susania, you are currently working to create a support based space for young adults in Goa where people can connect, share experiences, and access support in a safe and non judgmental environment. Tell us about this initiative.
I've created a support group for young adults, especially because, as she has spoken about her experiences also, there is so much that we don't know of yet. Don't know of yet in the sense of what kind of issues students are facing other than financial or family issues, anything else. Because sometimes people don't want to come forward because when they see role models of theirs being very negative towards them, they don't know whom to go to. They don't know if it is safe to speak up, if it is okay to talk about anything that they are going through, because it's seen as you're just supposed to know how to deal with all of this. Say for example, the child is 20 years old and they are going through stress. Sometimes the parents or the teachers are like, you're so old, you are such an adult now, you should be able to do this. Sometimes the child does not know how to do certain things and they're asking for help, and at that time if they are met with, you are supposed to know this, you were supposed to know how to do all of this, it can stop them from asking more questions about anything. So I thought of creating this space because this space will be for 18 to 30 year olds, where they can just come and they can talk about what they are going through. It doesn't have to be something dramatic, does not have to be something big. It can be something like daily, like ma'am had spoken earlier. Even choosing an outfit is stressful for some people, and it's not just something that, how can you not choose an outfit? Sometimes it is just stressful because of added pressure that is there for a person. And in this support group, I am trying to make the space very non-judgmental, because the second someone senses any kind of judgment, they close up. They do not want to open up, they do not want to speak about their struggles, about anything. And in a support group, I'm expecting people to just come and share about anything regarding anxiety, burnout, stress, whatever they want to, they can speak about. There is no limits on what you should and what you should not speak about. So it'll be a group where all of us can sit together. We can speak about our issues, we can share about how we handle that pressure before, and maybe hearing someone else speak about how they handle that pressure before, it can help another person navigate that situation better also. And if there is something that needs to be seen into a little more, that person can meet with a counselor or can meet with me, and we can see through that later on.
There are so many techniques, no, where a person can let out the stress. It's not only talking to somebody else about it. You can write whatever you want. You write properly, probably legibly. You write. Just make it a ball and throw it out. Or you write. You just scribble, but you are writing. Means it's coming out of your mind. You are writing. You are scribbling. There is nothing there on the paper, but you have scribbled. It's like you have written. Or you take a chair and you keep a chair in front of you and you say whatever you want to say to that person. Or you go to a room and you scream out whatever you have to say, maybe bad words also if you want to say, because it is like a catharsis. You heal from within.
This conversation, I think if I can sum up the whole conversation, it is simply that student mental health is not a private struggle, right? That's what we discussed here. It is a public responsibility. An institution cannot simply be factories for degrees. Okay, they must be sanctuaries for growth.
Everybody goes to stress. It is not only the student. Tell them that there is help on the other side of the wall.
In India, we invest so much into academic achievements that we usually forget that psychological well-being is also needed. Yes, of course, through academic achievements, there is a lot of struggle that one endures, but not everyone comes out the good side through all this struggle. Sometimes there are some people who need a little more help when it comes to their psychological well-being. So maybe investing a little more also into some kind of programs or courses for students where they can learn basic psychological first aid. That would be very beneficial for them, not just at that point in life, but throughout their whole life.
We glorify academic excellence, but we don't look into the human cost, the cost that goes into that excellence,
Correct.
the sort of the stress. So the minute you glorify it, and people want to achieve it, so you are pushed to achieve it. So
At all costs.
at all costs, at all. So I thank all of you for for giving so much of inputs and having a very insightful conversation here. And also thank our viewers for watching Usegame.
Help is one call away. The Telemanas, MANAS, Government of India National Helpline, toll free 24/7, 14416 or 1-800-891-4416. Goa Cell has its own Telemanas with psychiatrists and counselors. What it does is telecounseling and referral to specialists. Other helplines are iCall TISS 9152987821 Monday to Saturday 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. It is mainly focused for students. And Vandrewala Foundation 9999666555 24/7, and Asra AASRA 919820466726. It is a crisis support 24/7. And if someone is in crisis, you have to be with them. Do not leave them alone. Contact either their institution or the guardians or their parents or their friends. And if it is an emergency, then you better call 108 and send them to the hospital.